Hello everyone. Today I wanted to show you how to make a performer out of our puppet. Now this isn't explicitly for the puppet, but after seeing a recent presentation, I thought that it touches on a lot of cool topics that people may not realize, and it's worth talking about. I was kind of unsure if I wanted to show this now because there's like lots of future things, but I guess the nice thing about it is that then those can be fun surprises and just right now just be imagination. So I wonder who that is knocking on the door. Oh, got that jam door busted open. All right, who's this at the door? It's Wolfgang, and he's performing. A lot of changes happening, a lot of things. That's one of my favorites. Ignore the camera changes. But watch the performance here. His head's swinging a little, his arms are going up. I really like the sag here. His pupils are changing, his eyes are changing. Of course his mouth is, I mean that's obvious. They're lethal. To death. Oh no. Oh, there we go. As I may understand, it's very... Oh, there he goes. Sorry, Wolfgang. Oh, closing the door on his face. Oh, I want to fix all this stuff up so much. But it's so cool, I swear. So anyways, I think we got the brunt of it. So you're seeing that, right? And I'm going to show you a little bit of context. Earlier this year, the last project I did, I worked on Del Lago Layover, and it was the progenitor, that's the word, the progenitor of the systems I'm using now. And so in this, all I had for characterization was, move to destination in this voice over. Aside from that, maybe I had, I used crescendos and like musical booming and scoring and stuff. Let me see if I can skip ahead. To bring effect, here's a great part.
The door is jammed. There's some red squishy shut blocking the way.
Oh, let's see, you heard that. Just after this part, I think it's a great moment to cut between this and the next song. I use that kind of boom in the violin. So, anyways, I was very constrained on camera angles. I was constrained on all of those things. They were very restricted, limited characters, and now I'm starting to get into these systems wherein they're actually moving around in more lively ways, let's just say. If I hop into here, I just wanted to quickly just show some quick things to pay attention to well, you can't pay attention to it because it's not an active scene. This is the kind of bummer about it. But I just wanted to start with simple things, quickly iterate on one of my favorite parts about what makes things feel lively, and it's the eyeball tracking, ambient tracking that we all do. Let's go look at Hayes. There he is. Oh yeah, see, look, now he's looking at me. And his eyes twitch and jitter, and all of those things are cues that make us all look human. And so just beginning with all of those kinds of things is where I wanted to kind of build up uh, the let's say the video game computer system sides of things, because if you do it purely from a cinematic standpoint, you can jerry rig things, you can restrict things very, very forcefully and just basically make it an animation production. And it's like, I'm trying not to do that because what we're trying to do is grassroots, right? And so in that context, what I'm trying to aim for, there we go. What I was trying to aim for was something more along the lines of, here, let me quickly, oh, sorry, this is not it. You get to see all my things. Is do it from a systemic standpoint as much as I can. And so, like, actually, this is a perfect segue. Here we go. Sorry, Wolfgang, I'm trying. Here we go. Exterior, scenario. That's the door knock right there. And here's entering Wolfgang. So when we enter him, we start this. Oops, wow, my scroll wheel is good. Okay. We have a timeline. I'm sure you all would understand that that's how you do anything structured, sequential, is you're plotting out these beats and things. But what this is like all of these guys here are camera shot changes, which are obviously meaningful. We can, of course, put animated camera shots, which I did in Del Lago, but I'm not there in production yet. But then there's all sorts of cues. There's teleport cues, posing cues, like this one is kneel. And so all of these end up being the structure that plays out in these scenes, right? So of course there's so much depth to the system that can be done. You know, you can start and end things, make things happen all throughout the middle, make things happen from beginning to end, all those things as you program it. I don't have the time or energy, which is unfortunate. But all of these things start to play into this more rich and vivid character performance. Because what I haven't actually talked or used yet is in this set pose, there's the posing, so kneel or like stand up, and then there's the target expression, which is, it's not really anything different than the pose, but it's just an additional thing that goes over top of the pose. So the pose like of kneel can be that you're knelt down, but in this expression you can hold your hands to your face, you can point in the distance, you can rummage your fingers through the dirt, kind of thing. Eat your fingertips after you rummage your fingers through the dirt, and then finish the kneel and finish the eating your fingers, dirty fingers, and that would just play out back into these idle ambient body postures that they do based on their mood. Now, what did I just say? Mood. The mood is on the every character. I guess I'll go on me. I touched on this a bit in the other dev video, but I have this thing called head focus, and it's basically the characterization core. It's their brain, their head dome, while this core thing is the thing that walks around and does things in the game world. Um, this is the social part of the character. Um, it has mouths. Um, where is it though? Maybe it's not here. Where? Here? Well, no. Um, was it here? Oh, here we go. Current mood, neutral. So on this Babel character, this probably shouldn't be here. There's probably some way better ways of organizing this data and stuff. But the mood here is kind of the visible part of a bunch of things in the background that like go, hey, oh, what is this? Oh, I'm going to be this for a while. Like, say, neutral locomotion or crying locomotion, happy, expletive. All of these are based off of this mood. And what happens is in the dialogue, and soon to be distributed through the rest of the game mechanisms, you can just trigger this mood as whatever. Um, Expletive, happy, crying, or uh, where is it? Real, extra balling. And that's how we get, uh, see, this is funny, smoke and mirrors. You give them an extra balling, which is just one really long, long track. And I mean, this is easily done by doing a just a audio clip and just queuing it up here. But there is a one little caveat that I'll talk about later. And then I set the rest of the babble to silent so that it's not calling any talk here. And so then it's not stacking sounds and stuff. And you have one long cry before he falls to his knee. Um, and so these moods are driving a bunch of things. They were driving, as I was saying, the locomotion, which actually is their idle and their walks and stuff. Down in the future, we'll have a crying walk and a crying run. Um, and so then there's also, I'll have to find it. Where would it be? It would be in Puppet Customizer, probably. So there's the cinematic poser here, which is the thing that drives those poses and things that we're stirring in the system. And man, where is this? Is it still in the head focus? Mouth, character data. Here we go. So then we have the character data, and in here is what that name refers to, which is the babble. Now, when I was doing Del Lago, here's a quick tangent, and by quick I mean very long. Um, as I said, there was that speaker that talked. But aside from that, I couldn't do anything with this system. It was a pre-built, pre-bought thing. I asked the developer if there's any way to, say, half dismantle it and, get access to stuff. Um, and they said no. So I had to kind of go back to the beginning of things. And one of the things that I wanted to maintain was the fact that the character says things when you're hearing them talk. I know that there's a lot of charm in the deet doot doot deet doot, but I wanted to do it like Banjo Kazooie. And it turns out that these voices are actually really simple. There's like one or two clips, and they have a modulator that makes it go up or down. And actually, it's so funny, you can basically find a tutorial to do that in 5 minutes on Fmod these days. But it was great. All of the characters were so hokey and charming. So what they saved in having to only do three ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ah, um, they got to do in characterization. What is the oofs and the ahs? You know, what are all of these? What defines the character in these three sputters, I guess. Um, so then, well, you try and make it in the game, and most of what you get are tutorials on how to do this. Oh, I lost my track on it. Here, let me. Old typewriter key clicks. Here we go. Oh, let's do it again. Typewriting, typing. Which is a sound that triggers every single character. Now, the funny thing about that is it makes a lot of sense. On any of these, if I come to it, any of these games, as you do the text, there's either have the text just be there instantly all the time, which is, of course, absolutely aesthetically grotesque. Yes, I finally hit a critical. But what it is, I lost my train of thought because of that critical. Uh, something about grotesqueness. That really tripped me out. Right. Is that you appear the letters one at a time. As you can see here, no, though, the text comes back word by word. Um, so fortunately, I could plug into a Word typewriter that came with the thing that I was using, which is fantastic. And I had to now then jerry rig it to have all sorts of really cool extra settings. And this is what I love about being half in tech and half in arts, is that I can do programmatic crying. I can cry a bucket load. And you know what? I can program some bucket loads of crying too. So, what is bucket loads of crying, you say? Well, let's go down to crying over here. And oh, I get to show you some fun stuff. Fmod. Hey, Fmod. Let's go into you. Oh, I didn't want to alt tab to you. So while Fmod opens up, we have the crying here. So the mood that it represents is crying. Thanks, Fmod, for interrupting me. Crying. Um, and we have all of these things. So this is something that I put together, which is the babble frequency. So you either had typewriter or you had Banjo-Kazooie, which was for every word you go oh, and then you go ah, and then you go eh, or whatever. Not every word, I guess Banjo-Kazooie was a little bit better than that. But in this case, it would have. It would have just been like abadabadoo, doobu doobu da, but then you have the problem. Guess what? You have a single word like a. So what would your babble be? And then you have onomatopoeia. So then you now have this need to break down thresholds of characters, of how many characters in a word constitutes a small word, a medium word, or a large word. And so then in that, there's pauses and breaks to allow the vocalization to play out and to pace out how the words appear and pace the game. Of course, right now my cutscenes are still struggling so hard, but um, all of this stuff is tunable dials and knobs. And what's really excellent is that they actually really meaningfully affect how this stuff plays out. Um, so by tying into this core mood, I'm able to define that this particular mood uses a particular locomotion. So what's funny is that with balling and extra balling, I can use just crying locomotion all the time. So I just use the slunched over how I want, all of these things. And I never mentioned, but after all of the posing and the blah, 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 and how I didn't want to do core, just hard coded animation stuff, well, with the timeline, You could just hard code animation stuff too, like you're hard coding the camera shots and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, of course, I want to make reactive camera shots too and logical stuff. There's so many fun things to make a performer. Um, but then here we are in some people's world fmod. And in this, I made a bunch of sounds and I actually wrote what they were. um, and I actually, at the beginning, wrote down a paper chart and tried to define what does, you know, what would sound like a combination of words in quote unquote English that sounds like babble. And the reason why I say quote unquote English is because the whole point of these characters is to be so rich and vivid, just pouring over with cartoonish nature. And of course, exaggeration and that hyperbole, I guess, to like boost the satire and the comedy and the irony and all those things are so essential. So in trying to define English, I was also hoping that then you could then define other languages, other accents. What's Scottish English gibberish? What's Chinese French gibberish? What's, you know, that was the long shot that you had to silence the rest of the text for. Um, so I have all of these, and very simply, you just have Babel, and in these different languages, I have voice sound event, and all you do is you just hop in on a multi-instrument, and so then you can just neutral. This one has some fading. So then guess how many hours you just sit around doing this? Do I volume up? Do I volume down? Do I change the blend? What are the multi-instruments? Can I change the percentage that they are? I forgot how to do it. It kind of pisses me off. All of these things, and that makes you able to. But see, the average track length is more over here, whereas in neutral, happy, it's 120 milliseconds, 350. So it's even more than double. So then, of course, that's why you have to now pace out the babble, choose when it chatters. Now, what constitutes a small word that maybe does two babbles, like one at the start and one in the middle? Oh, well, way longer characters, because then you have. Oh, actually, you have this. Well, stacking, I can't make it stack on this, but in the engine it does because it can just make as many as you want. So those are all sorts of ways that I'm building this character out. And I had said, why don't you just directly affect something? I can't remember even what I was saying. And the reason was because, again, this is all very messy because I'm just throwing it all together from nothing to something. But it's that this Babel voice data can extend into beyond the Babel, or even just be a subcomponent with this Babel parts to a greater mood package, like an entire pack. So then you wouldn't have all of these voices, you'd just have the one for that mood, for that thing. And what can come along with it is the fact that the mood can be this greater domineering structure that can then make you walk around crying and it can change your pool of. I don't have the system yet, but within locomotion, there's always that whole uh, do an idle animation. So then, of course, each mood would have a pool of idle animations and, movement speeds if you wanted to do that or any of that kind of stuff. So you can set all sorts of prefab little packets of definition that allows all of these moods and stuff to play into a greater performance, and then of course string it together with those final animations that are the most expensive and least valuable recycling. But of course, in my mind, try to do that the least. Use the constraints of the system and how you can choose in the poser the pose blend time. This gets set when you set the pose, the blend time, so that it can read from itself. But when you're setting it in the timeline, enter Wolf timeline, let's click on the bigger one. The no pose here, you're setting it to 0.2. It's a percentage, a normalized percentage of the playback time, and because the poses right now are like 1 frame, it's absolutely bizarre to make them blend. But this would be a lovely system to get boosted up and made way more lively, like to set like objective courses for like 3 poses to kind of like launch into blending and let one play out at the end as they kind of transition out and stuff. It would be great. There'd be so much stuff that you could do. Um, so then using the synergies of this timeline to set up these cutscenes in more structured ways, using systemic means to command it, then allows us moving forward a great deal of reusability. And you'll notice a very similar method used in the MMO Final Fantasy XIV. Of course, probably most MMOs and lots of RPGs with tons and tons and tons and tons of content, which old RPGs with the doot 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 text needed, right? You need the do text. You can't voice over absolutely 7,000,000 novels of content. But in doing so, I really want to start making the actual characters able to do their lines. Certainly, there's a discussion to be had about making AI voice actors that you generate from a source actor, and but then there's liabilities and logistics of like, do you license it only for the game? Can you? I wanted to give it ownership to the original actor, and we were borrowing it, and then it's like borrowing it for how? How do they get you by the stones? Can they ask you to just remove their entire voice from the game? All that stuff. So I just thought, hey, you know what? Let's just do babble, so no one can say anything they don't want to say because it's just blah 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 blah. So and it's low budget. But that's, again, I had mentioned it a little bit earlier, is like work within the constraints. And I feel like I'm already finding exciting little elements from it. So I just did this today, but I was trying to use up the rest of my day so that I can feel satisfied that I used all my day. And it is, oh, I wanted to crit that. Okay, fine. Is, remember how I said we're going to shut Wolfgang up? Not big. Sweet knocking relief. I've heard that knock for a long time today. This does not work, everyone. But look what I have here in this next stage. Wolfgang has now entered the house, I wonder how. Through crying is the answer. And he's here, but look, there's a cube. What is that strange cube? Well, when I walk down the stairs and I meet him and walk into this cube, he starts on his journey, and I'm just timing this out. So he's like, oh, hey, blah, 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 about the apartment, home sweet home. And then he's like, oh, hey, look what I did to Hayes' room. So he's going to try, and it bounces kind of off, and that's so clunky. But it's like if you can give him a running pose, make him actually squash against the door with a pose, hold him there with physics, all of a sudden that action has so much character, and we have all these new poses that we can then use for all sorts of other stuff. Over there was a pause where we get to help with friendship power move the fridge. And then he comes, sees the room, he loves what we did with it. Oh shit, I love your record player. We left it here, and then I teleport away. Then we come and talk about it, and he's giving me a gift. Oh, here's this record. It slaps. Oh, did someone say slaps? I hope that didn't blow. Did someone say slaps? Um, and so this is where I've stopped. And it's finally kind of kicked me through inspiration to want to talk about this. So, oh, did I not? Oh, here we go. Camera's free. Um, I don't know if you noticed, but while we were down here, I was free to walk around, and I was actually personally pointing the camera to Wolfgang. He'd, of course, be saying his spiel. He'd wait for you to come and join him and do cues. Like, he wouldn't just slam the door while you're not looking. Um, all sorts of stuff like that to proceed through this sequence. But in the process of doing so, I was free to walk around, kick the ball around, and stuff like that. But not until I come and help push the fridge away does anything actually proceed. And so then, like, um, right now, I'm not getting to the performance so much. But these are like those stage cues. This is pacing out the timing and stuff for all of this stuff, and enables me to start slotting in the keys and the cues throughout the timeline again. Who would have thought? The timeline? What? Did I make Wolfgang go walk over? Is he coming? Oh no, he's stuck against the thing because his pathfinding's broken. Wolfgang, your pathfinding is broken. You've ruined my point. See, and this is like, okay, do you fix the pathfinding or do you just make him custom able to walk over here? And it's like, guess what fixing the pathfinding does? It fixes the pathfinding for every character, every single character. You know how I walked in from from stage right, and then how Slaps walked in from stage left? Every character, even you, is affected by the pathfinding being good or not. And so then, guess what? By doing that, you make a concrete system that's recyclable forever. It makes every single stage movement ever again way better. And so these are all sorts of really cool things that I've done, and I'm right at the cusp of changing and fixing and doing better. I should have turned him before he started walking because that would have made him not have to rotate, and he's frictioning, so he can't rotate. Um, what was I gonna get at? Performances, locking into these things. I got distracted with Wolfgang getting distracted. Yeah, just infinitely recyclable. So I'm horrifically cursed by the fact that this is all in Unity, but it's been so much fun to make and so much fun to do. And as you know, make pushing animations, try to make them recyclable, make them general-ish. You know, make pushing low and pushing high, and then by doing so, you can push low a bajillion things, and you can push high a bajillion other things, and you can copy paste push high to shove chest or whatever, right? And all of a sudden, now you have shove chest, so now you can do push zombie, and you can do knock over sign, and all of these things allow you to start making this world vivid, and make other characters able to perform very vividly, all from a concrete set of systems that then allow you to just really play with the design and the game of the things. Um, so I wanted to talk to you, ha 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 ha, a million hours later, about some of the future stuff. So as you were hearing, I was changing the mood, you know, yelling, neutral, and stuff like that. But interestingly enough, characters like these guys don't just do that. Um, I kind of skipped over Tom Nook characters, or come to Animal Crossing characters. Um, they have similar. They have a pool of words and gibberish, and it goes well. But there's an extra layer, and you may all know it from the game Celeste. And it's that in normal language, all languages actually, most of them at least, I think, many of them, there's what's known as inflection. So actually, before I show this, um, it's the whole the stereotypical blonde bimbo girl, the everything is a question, like don't you know this? It's always like that. The upward inflection in everything, like it's just like I was just thinking that I just wanted to do this thing. It's a question. Everything's a question. Like, don't you know what you're doing? And so then a statement is, I don't know what I'm doing. And in I don't know what Chinese language it is, but in Chinese the inflection is the language. So it's not even insinuating meaning in the language. It is two different inflections will mean two different things with the same other words and stuff together. Uh, don't don't quote me on this. I'm not a linguistic master, but to my knowledge, this is kind of to that effect. So inflection is everything in human exchange of language. So then, well, we have Celeste, another indie game, which is a nice thing, or indie-ish or indie. They do great stuff, and they put out a really awesome got, thing on control, like movement gameplay. Um, but yeah, even that laugh, I think that's even probably the best they've ever done of all of the voices. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, I have a super top secret model for doing something to that effect, where you can run an inflection line through the process of the sentence or the statements, and in doing so, you can start plotting within these moods and dialogues uh, other cues. So in the same way that you can change mood to expletive, you can go, I don't know, inflex, um, old man laugh. Um, and in doing so, you can make sure that those final little bursts of vocalization um, can sell that final delivery of the mood and the meaning behind the stuff. I wanted to just show this quick indie game by a semi-local group for a game jam because they used a very simple little babble system too, and it sounds beautiful. I wonder if zooming in works. Everfall. I'll put the link in the description. Um, but yeah, let them know if you like it or something, if you can contact them. Oh, oh, it's me. Here we go. And notice how the babble doesn't come out at each character. It's paced out. I feel it might have a delay, and it just happens on the next character that the delay, but I don't know. I didn't make it. Or when the track finishes. It sounds great. It's adorable. Uh, but yeah, beautiful little game. I haven't played it yet. I've been busy doing my own game making and then dreading the world. But yeah.
It is a bright and chilly autumn day.
Oh, cool. Okay, no, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. So yeah, check that out. Uh, so that's how you make a performer. All sorts of layers go into it. Um, it's not just babble. It's not just acting or animation. But if you do it the Genome Studios way, you're going to have a very dynamic system that allows you to make games into the future, just like you made Del Lago Layover and are now making a way cooler layover that is not as cool sometimes as well. Let's move away from that. Let's kick the soccer ball. See distraction, see fun. See, and I made sure that it feels good to kick the ball because now whenever you kick the ball, it feels good to kick the ball. Okay, Maybe I'll talk about that next time. So, anyways, thanks for listening along. I had a lot of fun sharing some of this stuff. I hope it wasn't too meandering. I'm a bit tired today. I am probably getting sick, and I'm now 26 minutes past clock out time. Yay! But I really appreciate you guys coming along. Um, Again, these are probably really long, and I could probably edit a lot of it, but you're getting the quick and dirty of it, and I really hope that this showed you some cool ways of making games. And let me know what you liked. Let me know what you learned, what you would very much do way better, and then you'll send me the code and do it for free. And then I'll put your name on the credits, and then you can say I made that really cool game. Um, but yeah, no, thanks for coming along, and yeah, if there's any more need to talk about some of this stuff, I can. But certainly just follow along in the progress of all of this stuff, and you'll see some way newer stuff, way better performances, and this is before we've even done the conceptualization stage. So this is pre-concept, if you can believe it. It's not like I don't know Wolfgang like intimately and Hayes intimately for the past like 7 years that I've been making game series for them. Not that at all. But anyways, there's many cultures that do the long goodbyes. But yeah, thanks for coming by. Um, and don't let the basement, the beepo, get you in the night with a basement inspection. Anyways, thanks. See you guys.